Well, hello there, and welcome back to another Blender tutorial. This time around, I'm going to be showing you how I make my eye shaders. We're going to start off with a regular UV sphere, place it where you want your eyes to be, scale it down, and add a mirror modifier. Now, as you can see here, I already have done that. I'm just kind of demonstrating it here as a duplicate. Once you do that, you can go into edit mode, and we're going to be selecting this front part and then duplicating it and then separating it into its own mesh. This is going to be the iris for the eye. Face project, use these settings here that I'm showing, enable it, scale it up so it's a little bit bigger, add some loop cuts. And here we're going to subdivide it and shrink wrap it to the big eyeball. Make sure that you set the snap mode to be above surface, that's very important. It's going to look a little bit weird, but once we actually add all the shaders, it's going to look pretty good. Now this part is very important. We're going to UV unwrap it. As you can see here, I'm going to select the vertex at the bottom. And on the left side, that vertex also has to be on the bottom, so they're synchronized. So to do that, you have to rotate the UVs like this. As you can see here, they're synchronized, both vertices are at the bottom. If you don't do this, then the shader is not going to look how it's supposed to be. For the actual main eyeball, we're just going to do a very simple material, which is going to be the RGB node, and just plug it into the material output, and that's it. And then for the iris, for now, we're temporarily just going to set it black, and then later on we'll actually do the full shader. We're gonna grab a plane. This is going to be our eye shadow. We're gonna add some loop cuts, scale it down, snap mode once again, but this time it's going to be face nearest, I think it's called, the setting. Subdivide and shrink wrap just like last time. And of course mirror. I tried to relax it here using the Loop Tools add-on, but it didn't end up looking good, so I just manually fixed it. If you're wondering, how do I know, where and how to fix it? Well, I'm looking at the left screen and seeing how it looks there, and then adjusting it on the right screen. And if you're wondering, how is it possible that we can only see the eyeballs on the right side? It's because I entered a local mode. And if you're wondering how to enter local mode, well, in the bottom left corner you can see the shortcuts I'm using. So you'll be able to see that I'm pressing the / hotkey. And that's how you enter it. Now for the actual shadow, we're going to be once again using RGB. And this time around, we're also going to be using the transparent BSDF to create that gradient look of the shadow. And also make sure to enable alpha blend. We're going to be using a lot of gradients in this tutorial, you'll see. This is just the first of many. Make sure to kind of scale down the UVs here a little bit. Here I noticed that the shadow needs to be moved a little bit more to the right, so it looks nice. Now that we have the shadow, we can actually work on the main shader. We're going to use texture coordinates and mapping, and every time we use texture coordinates, make sure to plug it in into the UVs. And also change these guys to be E's. So this first mix node, this is going to basically be your main color and the iris, or the, sorry, not the iris, but the pupil. So basically the first color one is going to be the color of your pupil, which usually it's kind of like this black color, right? And then the color 2 is going to be your main eye color. And then this other mix node that's below it, that's going to be your pupil outline. And in this case, I chose to be kind of this like pinkish color. You'll be able to see it here in a bit how it looks. Now this third color ramp, this is going to be your highlight at the bottom of the iris. You'll be able to see it later how it looks. And also make sure to overclock it like this. You just saw me overclock it to 5 there in the color ramp. So there you go, you have the 2 colors and then the purple pupil outline. And here I decided to make the actual pupil darker as well. And at the bottom there, just below the pupil, you will see that highlight that we added by overclocking the value to 5. So the next step would be to create a mask. And basically this mask is going to dictate where those eye details are going to be. Now you're going to be thinking, what eye details? Well, we're going to be adding some eye details later on, and now we're creating the mask for that. This mix or this multiply node that I just added, change it to add, and then leave the color to, blank for now. And we're going to be adding those details that I was talking about. So switch the gradient texture to be radial, and we're going to be adding a noise texture with the following settings. Now usually in most cases when I'm making this shader, right here on this mix node that I just created, the first color is black, but in this case I just added it to be white, so it kind of creates this like snow effect on the eyes. But usually it's black. And then the other color, color 2, it can be whatever color you want to be. So in this case it's kind of like this dark bluish color. So we're nearly nearly there when it comes to the shader. We just need to basically add one final part, which are going to be these kind of like 2 fangs that are going to be on the sides. You'll be able to see them later on, but they're kind of very like these sharp fangs on the eyes. Yeah, you can kind of see them right there, but I'm going to try to make them more pronounced so that you can see them. They're going to appear. Yeah, you can kind of see them really here. You can make them thin or thinner or thicker, however you want. And you can actually move them all over the place. So if you want them to be near the, the edges or in the middle of the eye, you can do that. And at this point, we're pretty much done with the shader on the iris. But obviously, she kind of looks dead inside, And this is where we add the highlight, which is going to be literally just a plane with, subdivided faces. And there I used loop tools to basically just make it into a circle. And if you're wondering what is loop tools, it's just an add-on that comes with Blender. You just have to enable it in the add-ons settings, and that's pretty much it. And it's going to have the standard mirror subdivision and shrink wrap with above surface and a little bit of an offset. And once again, I'm looking on the left side to see how it's going to look. And then moving it on the right side. And by the way, there I just kind of UV unwrapped it, because later on we're going to be using some UVs to create a shader for it. As you can see here, it's actually a very similar shader to the shadow that we created earlier. But instead of our RGB, it's actually using emission to kind of create that nice glow. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The only thing left for us to do is to apply the mirror modifier and move the highlight so it actually makes sense as to how it's supposed to be, which is basically like this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Take care, my dudes. Have a good one. Good luck. Bye-bye.